So I just like to introduce again, so since we had so much issues in between. So Ashish is a very accomplished professional photographer who pursues analog photography and many historical printing processes. And his biggest achievements include getting the very famous photography grants by Umrao Singh Shergill and recently the Al-Qazi Theatre Photography Grant. So we'll start off with as I already told earlier that he has done B.F.A in sculpture from Shantiniketan, then he moved to do his M.F.A from College of Arts, but then he finally pursued a career as a photographer. So tell us about your journey. What inspired you to take up arts in the first place, and how did this diversion come into place?
Yeah, so basically, since my childhood, I was always surrounded with filmmaking because my father is a filmmaker and back in Odisha. So since my childhood, I'm seeing all this kind of image making things through my father and always surrounded with celluloid films. So this is something. It's like it was like for me, it was like a magic because back then when I was watching all these celluloid films, there was like I was always wondering like like how come this picture like the image, the transparent image, it's too much noise. Hello.
No, I don't understand.
So it was like a magic for me when I was watching this transparency film, positive images. Like I was wondering, like how these things are going to, it's moving in the film, in the cinema. And can you hear me? Because I can't hear myself.
Uh, I can hear you, but beach mein the sound is very jittery and I can't hear anything. Even I'm trying to see if it's alright. I'm not sure because I'm still
Okay,
not able to see you properly though.
okay.
If
Like I
somebody
think
could
people,
just
it's yeah. If somebody can say that if they can hear or not.
sorry?
Because I can't hear my voice.
Uh,
If people can hear it, then I can just go on.
okay. Okay. So if you just give me a minute, I'll just check my Wi-Fi. Why is this going on? I'll come. I won't start
Sure.
my live again, but if you're alright, I'll just go check.
Okay, let her come, then we will continue. I can read the comments if you can hear me. Yeah, but I can't hear you. It's full hours of work is still progressing.
I can see you now. Finally, I guess I don't know. Okay, finally I
Yeah,
can
it's
see
okay.
you.
It's like I think people can hear us, so let's just continue. There is some disturbance in this. So
So
yeah, so I
the
was telling that. So this is the journey. Like my journey started with my father's interest in filmmaking, and since my childhood, I was watching all these celluloid films in my house, and I was wondering how this magic is happening. Like how like a film, still images moving, and how this still images has been created in this strip of transparency, plastic, and all. So all this curiosity took me to led me to pursue photography. But before I could go fully into photography, I was more interested in drawing things. I was painting. I was doing oil painting since my childhood. So that's the reason why I pursued fine arts in the first place. And in my fine arts, when I was doing my fine arts in Shantiniketan in my bachelor's, that was the time when I was introduced to the history of photography, and that also was very fascination for me because there was such so much mystery was lying in the history of photography, which led me to like research it more and to use it in my work. So this was my journey, how I came into art.
Photography and art. I just like to go into the photography part. Generally, if we say photography, it means digital, at least for the people around me. But then you chose to take the road less traveled. You went for analog, and as far as my knowledge goes, those machines are rare and it's very expensive. So as a student to pursue a passion involves so much of capital. How did you plan your journey? Because this is a very practical part of taking up any kind of fine arts.
Yeah, technically speaking, if you will compare the cost with digital and analog, it's not so costly. Analog is not so costly. If I will say, like for digital, nowadays the companies are innovating so much varieties of digital cameras and all. Every 2 3 years, people are changing their bodies, changing their equipments every time. But if I will talk about my analog camera, I'm using my camera since last 8 years. I don't have to upgrade my camera because it's there. I don't have to upgrade. I just have to buy my films. And if I compare the cost in that way, analog is not so expensive compared to digital. And if you are, if you will, it will take time, like maybe like 2 years or 3 years, if you build your own walking space in your own space, like the way I have my own dark room, I have my own chemicals, I make my own chemicals, I don't buy so much chemicals, I just make it from the scratch. So it's actually very cost effective. It's, I'm not spending so much money like if I would have been doing in digital, I would have been spending more money by upgrading my lens, or maybe like because I shoot only medium format and large format segment, so I have to buy a medium format camera, which is really expensive. So in that way, I think analog is more cheaper than digital. But yeah, I would say that digital is more easy to do it because you just shoot it, you bring it to your studio, like, and you just transfer it to your system. Then you can use it as soon as possible. But in analog, the process is slow. But that slowness is something which will teach you the patience, which will teach you how to actually observe the image.
What was your thought that drove you into this road? Like practical part understood, but why take up something that is not really taken up by other people so frequently? So why analog photography?
See, if I would again, I would say that when I was studying in art, when I was studying art history in bachelor's in Shantiniketan, so I like also one of the reasons, like being from fine art background, being a sculptor, I was always involved with my hands. You know, like I was physically involved with my sculptures. Like I used to do my prepare my own clay. I used to prepare my own modeling tools and everything. So I was more intimate with my work. So, and in the same time, when I was researching on this analog processes, the historical processes, I found the similar relationship with analog photography, because everything you are making out of scratch with your hand. You are not only creating image through the camera, you are also creating each and everything which is before the image and after the image. So that intimacy, that pureness, like that connection with your own work, which made me to work with analog more. And also, I think analog makes a person more perfect while shooting, because today's time in digital, you are shooting lakhs and lakhs of digital files. They are just digital junks in your hard drives and your laptops. But when you are shooting with film, you have to be very particular about what shot you are going to take, because you are not going to waste any frame. Each and every frame should be worth. Each and every image should be worth. So that's the reason why you make yourself more perfect. So analog for me is more perfection. And after, if I also recommend, like whenever I teach young students and everyone, I always tell them that you start with analog. It will make you more perfect while you are pursuing digital also. So this is the reason why it's not like that I never do digital. I do digital in filmmaking and all, but yeah, for my photography, for my still images, I'm always with analog processes.
So that's actually, I was looking at some YouTube videos and reading about processes like collodion, and I could understand that it includes a lot of effort and time. And like it's a very difficult process. And if you can master
Yeah.
that, you can always do the things that are easier than that. So we also got a question right now, and I was also thinking of asking you about it. So photography is, I can say that it was majorly developed in the West, in the colder climates. So the chemical solutions or whatever is used is also according to that climate. So you started adopting those practices in a hot and humid India. So did you have to make certain changes? How did you perfect your solutions? How did you go about making that process your own and perfecting it?
Yeah, it's actually this is like really interesting question because this is actually something which defines my practice more clearly. So it's true, all these analog processes are made for European condition, like it's more for cold weathers. So when I started, like 9 years back, when I first started to crack wet plate collodion process in India, I was not aware of any kind of photographers who are practicing these processes in India. Right now, I know a few people who are doing this process, but that time I was completely new. And I was following all the wet plate formulas which are meant for European condition. And that time I was failing miserably in Delhi because, as you know, Delhi is more humid and it's like the heat is unbearable in Delhi. And I was failing miserably. So that is the time when I started researching on chemistry. So this is something I really think, like if we are doing photography, two things we have to be very clear about. One is chemistry, one is physics. So I started researching on chemistry. I started researching on what are the chemicals, what we are using for these processes, what are the characteristics of those chemicals according to the weathers and according to the humidity level. And that way, it took me 6 to 7 months to crack a formula which is good for all kind of weather. And finally, I cracked it after 7 months, and I got my first plates after 8 or 9 months because I cracked my formula after 7 months. And after cracking the formula, it's a very funny part. I cracked the formula of the wet plate, but I didn't have a camera. So after 7 months, when my chemistry was ready, I didn't have a camera to shoot because you need a large format camera, and I didn't had a camera. It took me 1 month to search for cameras. I didn't got any camera, and then finally I realized that I'm a sculptor, so I can build my own camera. So I built my first camera, which I built by myself. It was 8x10 camera, and through that camera, then I took my first wet plate photographs.
It's really inspiring. To do everything from scratch needs a lot of grit. So, in like talking more about your journey, I would like to know for anybody who's starting off in a field that has less access to experts around you. If it's something very conventional, you have experts everywhere around. But for some field like you who is trying to specialize, there is less access. So how do you go about getting feedback, which is very important, I feel, as a designer, as an artist, it's very important. So how did you go about getting more and more feedback and increasing your own work's quality?
Yeah, so yeah, this is really very important, and also it's and very tricky because it's very difficult when you are doing certain kind of processes, which a lot of people doesn't have an idea about it. A lot of people doesn't have knowledge about it. So when I started with wet plate, I faced the same problems, like when I was approaching to the galleries, I was approaching to the different curators. They didn't have any idea about what this process is. So because for them it was nothing about, they were not understanding about the processes, because today's in digital time, you can print any photograph on a glass, but the way I was printing it, the way I was taking the glass, using the glass as my film, and using this process, it was very difficult for me to convince them, to make them know, to knowledge them about these processes. So slowly, I started making videos. I started promoting my processes in Instagram, in Facebook, so that people can see what I'm doing. I slowly started writing about what wet plate collodion is, how wet plate collodion started, the history of wet plate collodion, and even in India also there are a lot of kings, and in colonial time, a lot of assigned photographers from the Queen. They were coming to India and they were shooting with wet plate collodion. So I started researching on that, started putting those articles in my account so that people can see. And this is the way I slowly started, like pushing this process about like people started to know that, okay, there is a process called wet plate collodion, and it's not about digital print on a glass plate. It's completely a history of photography. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Ah, the storm. It's super stormy here and I can't really help it.
It's okay. No, but now it's clear.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank God. Yeah, so you were telling me about the feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, so I told you about the feedback, I think. So the feedback which I got after showing the wet plate was completely, it was like I was expecting like people will be shocked and all, but luckily after 1 year of my practice with wet plate, I finally found people who knew about it. Like I found Raha Balana from Al-Qazi Foundation who has an idea, like who knew what wet plate is because he's a he's a photo researcher. And then I found other people's who are interested with similar ideas and they know about these processes. Then it become very easy for me. And the most important part of my work during that time was I was not shooting just to shoot. I was doing projects with it. And those projects, in those projects, I was experimenting with these processes. So the feedbacks which I was getting from the art community was more welcoming. Like they were welcoming this entire process to this field, and they were like ready to, like to show it to the public. They were ready to like welcome it in their own commune. So, yeah.
Talking about your different projects. So I'd like I'd like you to expand on some of your projects. Like as far as my knowledge goes, there's one on B.F.A in India. There's another one that you did around Ramayana in Odisha, and you have also worked extensively in Kashmir. So these are very different topics, very vibrant. So if you could tell us about some interesting experiences that you went through, and if possible, if you could show our audience also some of the snaps of your projects.
Yeah. So let me first start with B.F.A project because this is one of my first project which I did when I cracked my wet plate process, wet plate collodion process. So this was about, as everyone knows, it was during the time of 2014 and 15 when we had a beautiful government came to a power and they banned beef export and import and entire thing became illegal. And due to this ban, a lot of this lynching happened, a lot of lives got lost and entire politics got changed. And during that time, I was, before that, I was more like, I myself eat beef and I was more close to one of the area, like one of the locality near my house, Mehroli, where I used to get my beef from. And I was talking to those people who were selling me beef to the shops. And they were actually really afraid. They were frightened, like what is going to happen, not to their life, but to their livelihood, because if beef is getting banned, their entire business is going to stop. And this was something completely different for me, like they were like, it's not only it was not questioning about the religion or the ethics of what food or religion believes, but it was also questioning about the livelihood of the people who are into this business. And for them, this is the only source of income. So in that project, I invited those people, like those butchers, to my house, and I told them I want to photograph you. And for them, it was something completely different because they thought that, okay, they will come in the best attire to photograph themselves. But I have told them that I just want you to be the dress which you are wearing during when you are doing this job. I want you to be in that attire. So I shot them with my wet plate collodion, and then what I did, I scrapped out the skin from the photographs. So instead of Yeah, so the wet plate has a layer, so it's a chemical layer. So if you after the photograph, if you touch the layer, it will easily get scratch out. So we put a varnish to make it permanent. So before putting varnish, I slowly scratched out their skins, the places where the skins were visible, like the face, hands, or the neck. I removed the skin and then I replaced of real beef flesh behind the photograph, so that that beef replaced their skin while their dresses was like that. And then this entire installation was like this entire photograph was made out of made of an installation, and I uh, took it and I put it in one of the busiest road in Delhi, and I wanted to see what will be the reaction of the people, like how they're reacting. And the entire time I was standing there, by like no one knew it's my work, but I kept it on the road and I was standing and observing those people, how they're reacting. Some people reacted, some people saw and they understood what is happening, like why because you can see their skull cap on the head, but on the face there is a beef, so like meat is there, and slowly meat started rotting because I was not using any kind of chemical to preserve it, and the smell was happening, and but still they were trying to see, and finally some people broke it, some people just came and broke the entire work, which I don't mind. It's okay for me, it was not a problem. But yeah, but I have shot some still images which I would like to show you guys. Mm,
Courage to do such work. It's on the lines of being a revolutionary.
so I hope you can see.
I can see. Yeah, I can see. Yes.
So
Yeah.
so you can see the meat behind the glass.
Yes. So you've taken off the face, and we can see the
Yeah.
yes. Amazing.
So this
It's
was
hard
like
hitting.
four. So it was like four photographs I have put, because it was hard for me to put so many photographs, and also it was I knew only four butchers over there. They were like really close to me, so that's why they only four people came, and I shot them. So this is one of my projects from Beef Band, and Ramayana project, which is called Narrative Flux. It was the part of Umrao Singh Shergill photographic grant. So this project took me 7 years. It's like 4 years research, and then I started doing my practical work on around it. So this project started with one of the book by Ramanuja called 300 Ramayana. When I was reading 300 Ramayana, I felt that in today's time, everything is happening around Ram. Temple is getting built around Ram, lynching is happening around Ram, so everything is happening around Ram. So I was researching on this Ramayana topic, like how authentic we have, like we know about, actually how much we know about this entire epic, and how much we really know about the Lord Ram. So I found out there are like lots and lots of variety of Ramayans only in India. Like there are a lot more ramen varieties across like in our neighboring countries, but in India also we have lots of varieties of ramen. So I started to think that how should I challenge my viewer to actually create their own ramen. So in this process, I started collaborating with theater actors from Delhi, and we decided to shoot. And we decided like four characters: Ram, Lakshman, Sita, and Ravan. And we thought that we will revolve the story around these four characters. So we shot like I shot each character in wet plate, in my glass wet plate, individually, and then I used the text of Kamba Ramayana and Valmiki Ramayana, and then I collaborated with another writer, Saurav, uh, and we actually what we did, we combined this text of Kamba and Valmiki, then we broke it. After combining those texts, we broke the text entirely, and then we created new text for it. So the entire work is like it's like a very interactive puzzle game where you interact with the plates, with the glass plates, and your entire text will be changing, which shows that every time you interact with each images of each character, you are changing the narration of Ramayana. Every time the narration is changing. So this is what actually Ramayana is like, because it was a poetic narration and it has changed from place to place. That's the reason why we have different Ramayana in different state. If we talk about our Odisha, in Odisha also we have a different version of Ramayana. In Kerala we have a different version of Ramayana. So there are different versions of Ramayana in different state in India only. So this was my idea to show like how the narration changed no matter what we believe, no matter what we believe, where the mandir is, where the Janmabhoomi is, like where Ram has taken birth. But everyone has their own concept. Tomorrow, if someone comes from Odisha and tells that Ram has taken birth in Odisha or in Kerala, you can't argue with it because you don't have evidence for that. So, so that's the point when I chose to do this work, and this work I divided in two parts. The first part was with glass plates, and one of the reason, like most of the people ask me why I chose to do it in analog wet plate processes, because as we all know, talking about Ramayana in this time is very fragile. If today I'm inside my house, I'm talking to you about it. If I will go outside and talk, no one knows what is going to happen with me. Someone is going to lynch me. Someone is going to kill me. So it's very fragile. So that's the reason why I used this glass plate, wet plate processes, because glasses are very fragile material. And when I'm allowing my viewer to interact with glasses, they have to do it very carefully. They have to take care of it. So it's the same way how we are going to take care of ourselves when we are talking about this topic in the public spaces. So this is the reason why I use this material and this process to show my project. I will show you some images of this works too.
Ever feel scared or or like yes, do you never feel insecure as an artist when you were
No, I don't feel. No, actually, the thing is that when I was starting, so I haven't talked about Kashmir experience, but when I started my project in Kashmir, I was scared. But a lot of incidents happened with me, which actually took away my fear. You know, like now I am ready. Whatever is going to happen, I'm ready to face it. I know, like nothing is going to happen worse. You know, like, but if it is happens, then we are ready for it. So these are my Ramayana projects, which I don't know how clear you can see it, but yeah.
yes,
So this is
and
Sita. This is my version of Sita, who smokes and drinks and who is more bold than the usual Sita, what we read or what we have seen in Ramayana.
this is amazing. One of the shots, the woman is moving, and it's amazing how you could
Yeah.
capture a moving image in wet plate.
So yeah, one of the reason why I was choosing this kind of pose, because this entire installation is like when you put together four characters photographs at in one place, you will form a composition. So when you
Yeah.
saw a woman being dragged, so you can actually put Ram dragging Sita or Ravan dragging Sita, the entire narration will change. So all these photographs are meant so that when they will be put beside each other, it will form one storyline. It will form one story connection. So this was my Ravan. So this is my Ravan, and this is Ram. So here also you can see the hand is extended to the edge, and there was another photograph of Sita where her hand was extended to the edge. So when these two will put together, it will form one story. So like that, people can actually change the images. They can put Ravan in place of Ram or Lakshman, anything, and the narration will be changing every time they interact and they change the slides.
So is it like you're telling that people create their own stories?
Yeah,
So
that's my
that's
entire idea. Like how, like I'm telling my viewers to create their own version of Ramayana every time.
it's
This is
amazing. It's
Lakshman.
not like
So I hope everyone saw it. Uh, so this was one part of this project, and this project was divided in two parts. And the second part, which actually took inspire from Odisha, Chow dance. I collaborated with some Chow dancers in Delhi again because I couldn't connect with the original Chow dancers because for them my concept was completely out of their context. So they don't want to disrespect what they are doing. So and I also respect that. So that's why I didn't. I researched on them. I stayed with them for many months and I researched how they are doing. But I also decided that I shouldn't disrespect their beliefs. So that's the reason why I chose Chow dancers in Delhi who are practicing contemporary dancers who are also practicing Chow dance. So I collaborated with them and we created the same narration but in a very different way by using Chow dance as the process. And that's this. So here I also didn't use the original show dance costume out of like for their respect only. So I created this mask and everything by myself. So and this one was shot in film, black and white film.
because in yeah.
I couldn't hear you what you said.
Like, are you talking about Purulia Chow or Mayurbhanj Chow?
So I was researching on Purulia and Mayurbhanj both the Chow, but I didn't use any of their aspect or costume design because they told me that they really respect their belief
Yeah.
and all. So I just created my own mask, but we took some of the steps from both the dance form.
Very lovely. Oh my God, this mask
You
is
can
so
see
nice.
this is
So you,
Ravan.
yeah, you handmade their costumes, all of them.
Yeah. So all the masks were made by myself. So I just used my sculpture skills and made the mask. The hat, the mukut was not made by me. It was obvious, of course, bought. But Ravan head attire was made by me because I wanted to give it some tribal look. Because most of the time when I was reading Ramayana, when I was researching on different Ramayana, it was very clear that in Rakshas, the meaning of Rakshas, like what is the meaning of Rakshas? It's actually means Rakshas, and Rakshas means the protectors of forest. So basically, they were tribals. The Ravan family were tribals who were protecting the forest, and so that's the reason why I kept the Ravan mask more tribal look. I given it more tribal look with all the head attires, with all this peacock feathers and all to give it a tribal look. So yeah, so this is my Raman project called Narrative Flux.
Mention also that you worked in Kashmir and you had some life-changing experiences. So can you just tell us a little
Yeah.
about them? Yeah.
Yeah, so Kashmir project started when actually I was in bachelor's because my roommates were two Kashmiris and they were senior to me. But during that time, before that I never had the opportunity to go to Kashmir, so I had a different opinion about Kashmir. So there were times when in night we used to argue about Kashmir and India, and and they used to tell me all these stories, what has happened with their family, with them, with other people, and me to believe. And one second, I'm sorry. And it was great experience. I was enjoying there, and there was this one of the small village in Sofian where my friends lives. So there was some kids were there, and they used to play cricket every evening. And I'm very bad in cricket because I don't like cricket so much. I like, it's very blasphemy to tell it right now because today I think IPL is starting, but I hate cricket very much. So I am more into football. So I never played cricket and I never liked it. So, but they love cricket. So they used to play cricket in like during evening. And when I used to play with them, I was one of the most worst players. So they always used to tease me. These kids used to tease me, and they write poems. They write beautiful poetries about the beauty of Kashmir, the beauty of apple orchard, and all this thing. And they also started writing poetry about me, like how I'm terrible in cricket. So it was very fun. I started developing a relationship with these kids because they always loved me. No, and there was no problem for them that I'm from India, like, and what is happening with them. So they didn't had any issues with that. They were enjoying with me. They were playing with me. I was teaching them drawing. They used to draw. I will tell them how to draw and all. I was shooting them with my camera. So it was all fun. And after that, I have also went few times more, but recently, like not recently, like in 2015 when I went, late 2015 when I went to Kashmir again to meet my friends, when I met these kids, so they were all the victims of pallet guns, and three of them have lost their eyes. Few of them have got marks in pallet marks in their bodies and all. And now their poetry has completely changed. Instead of writing beauty of the Kashmir or apple orchard or cherry or all those things, they were writing the poetry about all this freedom, about what violence is happening, what is happening with them, what is happening with their life, or what is going to happen with the future. So it was very hard for me to believe that how come entire things can change for them. For them, it was very hard. For me, it was nothing. I was just coming and I was seeing what is happening. I was going out. I was just a, like outsider for them. So that was the time when I thought that there should be some works which shouldn't require to be in gallery, or there should be some works which shouldn't have to come out of the Kashmir. It should created in Kashmir. It should live in the Kashmir. So that is the time when I started working with these kids. I started taking pictures of them, and then I told them to write their drawings on their photographs. And then I did few installations, like site-specific installation over there near the army post and all, where I wanted to send a message to the people, like to the both the side, to the army side, to the Kashmiri side, like apart from all this violence, we have this humanity. Like there are future of these young kids which are lying. We can't just ruin the future of Kashmiri or the people of Kashmir, young students, especially the young people, in the name of this entire politics and in the name of terrorism and all these things. So during this period, like I'm working with in Kashmir since last few years, and during this period, a lot of things has happened. Many times I was picked up by army and taken to an undisclosed location, and then they will just interrogate me and they will leave me. And during the first time when I was picked up, I was really scared. But after that, slowly, I got used to it because I knew nothing is going to happen to me because I'm not doing anything provocative over there. I'm just trying to send a message. So till last time, like last October, during October after all this problem happened with Kashmir last year in August, I went to Kashmir, and that was the first time when I was actually picked up from my flight. When the flight landed in Kashmir, I was picked up from inside the flight. I was taken to an undisclosed location for entire day, and then they dragged me out and put me back in the flight and sent me back to Delhi. And they told that you can't enter the Kashmir for at least for another 4-5 months. After that, I haven't able to go. So this is my Kashmir experience.
Projects have a reason, a cause behind them. None of them can be termed as futile. Rather, I would say all of them are revolutionary. I just had to ask, for us, photography, for young photographers, it has just become a way of putting a vision or an image out there. But don't you think do you think that the right images can actually bring in revolution? They can actually bring in change in the society? What role does a photographer play in the whole world scenario right now?
See, when I do these works, I know I alone can't change, I can't bring the revolution alone. And revolution is not going to come in one day. Until unless we all work together and we all walk together forward it, the revolution will come. There is no point that revolution won't come. Revolution will definitely come. But as a photographer, as an artist, it's our job to take that step forward. Like if we will keep sitting that, we will keep thinking that, okay, someone else will take, then we will join. No. As a artist, as a photographer, we should take that first step. And in that first step, it's not necessary that you can change the entire mass. No. Out of 1,000 people, if one people can move from your work, like if that person can change himself from your work, that is enough. That is more than enough. Because this one person and your one step can lead to 1,000 more steps and 1,000 more people to change. So of course, I believe that revolution can be brought by photographers or by any artist who are working as an activist or as a like art as an activist who are working like that. So I don't think people should stop like doing it. I think people should, and I would suggest all the young photographers that like don't think that one of your work or one small project or anything can bring revolution. No, each and every photograph you are taking towards it, each and every project you are doing towards it, is a step you are taking, and one step by one step you will go forward, and slowly you will be joined by many others. If you won't take the step, then everyone will be waiting as like you, like how you are waiting, everyone else will be also waiting. Unless you take the step, others won't join you. So it's very important to take the step first.
I completely agree with your outcome. And it's necessary that all of us kind of sit back and think about what you have done. So I'd like to talk more about your thought process here by asking that you have changed your places. You were in Odisha, born there, and then you came to West Bengal to do get your studies done, and then finally you're practicing in Delhi. So there is, of course, a big change in context every time you have moved. So what do you think this kind of change brings a change in an artist? Does that affect him or her? How does that work?
Yeah, I think the number of times I've changed my places, actually I have developed myself. Because when I was in Odisha, frankly speaking, after I left Odisha, I'm very less connected to Odisha because I hardly go to my house in 2-3 years once I go. And but when I vision, because I was philosophy, so it was very influential for me. I learned a lot of things. I would say I actually grew. Like I actually developed myself as adult in my bachelor's time. And but still, I learned a lot of things in West Bengal. But I was in a very safe zone because I was in a university. I was in a city which is highly influenced by Tagore's philosophy. So I was in a safe zone. But when I came to Delhi, I actually faced the practical problems. Here in Delhi, it's very direct. People are very direct in your face if you are not from Delhi, if you are not Hindu, if you are not from particular caste. So everything is very direct. When I was doing masters in my College of Art, I had few people who are from who are there was few people who used to always talk about how higher caste they are. But all this thing is very direct in Delhi. This also made me change of how to look at all these issues. And right now I don't care about what caste who are and what religion who is, because I have faced so many these things, and after coming to Delhi, that now everything has become and completely dissolved from me. It has dissolved from me. So this also made me think critically about addressing all these issues. When I'm addressing these issues in my work, I have to also think very critically about it, like how I'm dealing with it, because not everyone is same. I have few friends who are from upper caste, but they don't care because they don't really see that thing in that way, because their upbringing must be from different scenario.
but there are some people who are very proud of their caste and proud of their being so-called Hindu or Muslims or Christian. So every time I'm dealing with different people when I came to Delhi. So this also changed my work a lot. And I would say that it has enhanced my practice, it has enhanced the way I think I conceptualize my works. So changing place is one of the biggest factors. And when you are changing your place to some place where it is more like Delhi is the center of art, it's like everything is happening here, it's so active. So you are always bombarded with all kind of informations every time. Like even in the lockdown, we were so active. Like every time we were bombarded with all kind of new works, new thoughts, new talks. We were listening to a lot of people. So I think people should change. Like it doesn't matter whether you are in art or photography or whatever medium you are doing, whatever design course you are there. It's always good to change your place, because that way you can actually understand different cultures. Because this is one of the biggest gifts we have in India. Like every state has a different culture. So you go to different places, you see different culture, you learn different things, and you just try to put those learning in your practice, and you just enhance your practice.
Need a diversity of outlook to kind of cater to different user groups. What you said, and always college and university seems to be a safe place, but when you step out there, it's a whole new world. So I'd just like to talk a little about your new venture, that is the Maze Collective. If you could tell us a little about that.
Yeah, 1 second. I don't know what happened to my headphone. It's just not connected. I'm telling you. Yeah. So Maze Collective is one of the most exciting journey which me and my partner from Iran, Zara, we are starting. It's something like one of the roller coaster ride for us, because there is something completely different what we are doing. Like we both are analog practitioners. She also worked with analog processes and also with digital processes, but we both have the same common thing of doing things physically with our hand, making prints out of our hand. But as a collective, the first project which we started was Blink. Blink was an interactive online photographic gaming project, which is like completely new for us, because this project is completely digital and more new media for us. So this game is still under construction. Like we did some trial projects with some WhatsApp group. Like we tried to create a gaming platform through WhatsApp group. But now we are building a website to function it. Most probably in 2 months the website will be ready and we will be launching the website. But this game is about like how social media is changing, like all kind of narrations, like what we are seeing today. One of the biggest examples we can see today is Sushant Singh Rajput's cases, which is happening right now, one of the hottest topic, and where farmers are getting neglected, where other important things are getting neglected. And this is how social media is trying to manipulate all ideas. So we were looking at how social media manipulates certain information, and they distort certain information and present it in a different way. So by keeping this as our conceptual note, we saw that how to make it more interesting during pandemic. So we thought to make a game, and this game was adapted from one of the card games called Dixit. This is for the first time I heard from Zara, because she is much into gaming and all. When she told me about Dixit, I told that I don't have any idea what Dixit is. For me, the maximum level of card game is Uno. I don't know beyond Uno. I don't know anything card game. So when she told me about Dixit, we played the Dixit with her and some of her friends, and I understood what Dixit game is. And then we started designing the game according to our rules. And that was one of the most challenging parts for us, but it was very interesting, because this was the first time when I was creating a work with the game, while it was very serious in the same time, using social political issues and all. In the same time also, we were trying to keep our participants mood little bit happy. Not every time I can do so bombardment political work so that everyone will be shocked. So this was the project where we wanted people to also be a little happy during playing the game. So we were designing this game according to our rules and regulations and the points and everything. And then we played with two different group of photographers from India, from Mexico, from Iran, from Italy. We played with these photographers. Two games we played, and it was amazing to play because this game includes critical writing. This game includes photography, and this game includes photo collages which you are going to make during the game, and also it includes video also. You have to make small videos, 15 seconds videos. So we are actually targeting the social media, like how these things will happen in Instagram or Facebook. So that's the reason why we kept certain things like video. We have kept 15 seconds because if you will see, our stories are for 15 seconds only. So how participants can bring maximum out of this 15 seconds with the video, all these things. So this project started as the collective of me and Zara, and then slowly this project has inspired us to take some more like some more bold steps which we are taking recently, and for which we were discussing. Was a little bit paranoid about taking these decisions, and but thanks to her, she was like convincing me that okay, things will go good. But right now, as a collective, we are opening a studio, a residency studio, where we want different kind of artists who are working on lens-based, different kind of people who are working on lens-based medium. We would provide them a space where they can actually experiment with materials, they can experiment with different kind of processes, and at the same time they can collaborate with different kind of other practitioners with whom they think they can collaborate and do works. Because as not only me, even Zara, both of our thought is this that this is the time when work should be produced collaboratively. And like the more you collaborate with people, the more brains get collaborate together, you actually create good works. So this is the reason why we're creating this studio, the space where we are going to invite, or we're going to put an open call for a young artist who can come and collaborate for 1 month and experiment with that, a different kind of materials or different kind of technology. That's what we are going to do with Maze Collective.
It's really great, and all the best to you both. I hope it becomes a success. So I
Thank
guess
you.
this is about time, but before we leave, I'd really like to give out a message to young people who are trying to pursue their passions. So what would be your message?
I've already told a lot of messages through my conversations. See, the thing is that for every young practitioners, I would just tell that whatever you have passion, like when I started with wet I had this passion of doing photography, but I didn't have any formal education in photography, but that didn't stop me doing it. The thing is that as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't give up on your passion, everything is possible. You may struggle for a bit, you may have some difficulties, but that are the most beautiful part of your life. These are the things which you can tell after 5 years, like me. You can tell about your struggles, and that's what makes you, like it will make the entire conversation interesting. So whatever struggles come, just accept it. Okay, I'm accepting this is going to happen, but it's going to be there for a few minutes or few time, very limited time. After that, I will pass on. So that's the only thing, and I think everyone should just walk towards it. And whatever you do, just concentrate on your work. First is work. This is what going to make you what you are. Apart from work, other things are going to come, going to go. Like it's a part of your life. But work is always under your control. It's not under anyone else's control. Your work is under your control. So how the way you want to mold it, it will get molded. So that's the best part of it.
Watching or from NID, I've seen NID students, they're really very energetic and all. I think I don't need any suggestion for them. They are already know how hardworking they are, and they will go ahead.
Ashish, I had a great time, and I hope our audience also had a great time. And we had some really good questions that they had sent us, that they sent us through comment section. There are people who commented that this should have been a Zoom session rather than a Insta Live, which I really agree to, because there is so much you can tell us. There is so much of your story that is worth listening to, worth learning from. And I'm really thankful that you came here. I thank my
Thank
team
you.
and a special thank to my friend Devansh who helped me out through this.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It was great talking to all of you. Like, it was always my pleasure to talk to young minds. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much. I guess this is
Thank you.
it. We'll call it a wrap. Bye.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.